So what is the difference between Kabbalah and Sod HaTorah?
No, Kabbalah is Pardes. Teaches you how to go through Pardes. Pardes, that means Pashut, Remez, Drosh, Vesod. It includes 4 phases of understanding of the Torah. Pardes means a place that you cultivate different fruits, a land that you cultivate and you bring about food and fruits out of it. That's called Pardes. Now, Torah has to be understood like derech Pardes. That means in the way of Pardes. What do we mean by Pardes? That you have to understand the Torah Pashut. That's the stories in the Torah. Like Abraham went and took his son for sacrificing for sake of the word of Hashem. The stories, all the stories are Pashut. Very simple. Pashut means simple. Simple understanding of the Torah. That is by reading the Torah and just taking it as face value at what it says. Then after the Pashut is Remez. They are in the words hidden Remez. Remez means secrets. Really, Remez means it's hidden. You need a key to open and in order to get all the information. That's called Remez. After the Remez is Drosh. Drosh is what you're studying right now in Midrash. Midrash is the word Drosh. That means you start explaining things of what really Torah is all about. You go deeper sense of understanding of the Torah. That's why in Midrash you learn, oh, there is a hidden aspect of the Torah and there is a concealed aspect of the Torah. There are certain things that God doesn't want you to know. You ask him if you are allowed to ask all the questions, but there are some of the questions he says, it's none of your business to understand. You don't understand. Like the way God said to Moshe. Moshe said, listen, I want to see your panim. That means I want to come face to face and see all the truth about you. God says, no, you cannot. Because you are not able, you don't have the vessel of taking the totality understanding of the Hashem. So therefore, it says there are certain things that remains unexplained, and we take it as the Torah says until such a time and period or whatever that you will be able to understand even the things that are concealed.
Is any emanated being able to attain that level where they're able to come face to face with God, even if they're not alive?
No, you can't. As long as we are in this world, we cannot. We don't have the capacity of understanding the totality of what really Ein Sof is.
No, but what about the next world? What about when we're not in this world anymore?
Again, I can't tell you that. I don't know what is the next world. I cannot explain what is the next world. I don't remember what it is to die and go to the next world and what's happening. I don't. But I know that there will be, there is in the Zohar HaKadosh says that Hashem on Friday night sits down with Tzaddikim and studies Torah. What that means, I don't know the feeling. But I know that such circumstances exist. In regard to the Mashiach and Moshe Rabbeinu, Moshe Rabbeinu is inclusive of all the neshamot of Israel. He's the kolel. He's the one that completes the totality of neshamot of Israel. Now, any spark or any neshama that ever comes into existence comes from Moshe. So if there is a Mashiach, neshama of that Mashiach is included in Moshe. There is a spark of Moshe in you. There is a spark of Moshe in me. In reality, I am the spark and I am included in Moshe. Moshe is totality of all the neshamot of Israel. Look at the tree. They are branches. Moshe is the tree, is the trunk. We are the branches. Some branches are close together. Some branches are far from each other. That's the same way as neshama. We are talking about only Jewish neshama. Nation of Israel is exclusively made of 600,000 neshamot, and that's it. Neither there is increase in it nor reduction in it. It is exactly the amount of neshamot that can create that entity called Israel that is able to do the job that God has set for it. That's why Shabbat is given only to Bnei Israel, not to any nation. The 70 nations, they have to follow 7 mitzvot. We have 630 mitzvot more in order to prepare our body and way of life to abide to the plan of Hashem that's set for Israel. Torah is not in Olam Haba. Torah is here. So you have to study the Torah here. Derech Pardes, you have to learn it here. But the point is that 99% of the rabbis, they don't know anything about Etz Chaim. And because learning of Etz Chaim takes a lifetime and it's very difficult, and they haven't gone and they only learned halachot, they advise everybody else to be like them, not to learn the Etz Chaim. But Etz Chaim is here. It's not in Olam Haba. If you don't learn Etz Chaim here, you won't get to Olam Haba. And because of they are lazy and because they don't know what Etz Chaim is, so, oh no, Etz Chaim is not for here. So why did Ari Kadosh start teaching Etz Chaim here? Why Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai teach the Zohar here in this world, not Olam Haba? They are all in this world, and they are all students here. And Etz Chaim has the students here, and the whole world is studying Etz Chaim. But those who are lazy and they don't want to change, because if you go to Etz Chaim, then you will see who is really God. They don't want you to know the whole truth. They want you to know enough truth. And I'm not afraid to say this. That's what even the Zohar says. Zohar says that most of Erev Rav are those who controls the schools and the students, and they are teachers. And those are the ones that they teach students to stay away from learning the Torah in the Pardes, derech Pardes. Because if you learn, then you become smarter than them. And that's what you're supposed to be. You have to be smarter than your teacher. Otherwise, what your teacher has done to you, just created another clone of himself, so it can control you as a rabbi. That's stupid. When somebody says, don't learn something about Torah. If you are capable to study something from the Torah, deeper sense, that's stupid of any teacher to stop you from learning. The last fight in Israel is against Erev Rav. That's the fight of Gog and Magog when we have to fight the Erev Rav. The Erev Rav that doesn't want you to know the whole truth. They want you to know enough so they can control you. Because if you don't have knowledge, they can control you. If you have knowledge, nobody can control you. If you know the truth, nobody can sell you bullshit. Because they can control you with the fear. The best control is when you put fear in the heart of someone. And look at all the students in yeshiva. They don't smile. After 2 years, they become dry. They become too stick. That's what Etz Chaim says, Ari Kadosh says, and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says. You can only control people who are ignorant. You cannot control a person who knows the truth. But that's the most difficult fight of the end. That's why it says Gog and Magog. Because that's all mental. A person who's afraid, there's a cockroaches in his mind. to take the cockroach out of your mind. That means you learn something that is not true and you're afraid to change what you have learned. That is the fight. Chaim is where you can grow. That's why it's called Etz Chaim. It's like a tree. You see a tree that looks not beautiful and no fruits. Etz Chaim is a tree that alive, like you being alive or being sad. When you are alive, you can produce. People look at you, there is a light comes out of you. People look at you and say, wow, this is a person that is really in control of his life. Things happening, he makes things happening. He goes forward, he's fruitful, he helps. That is when you are eating from Etz Chaim. But there are people, trees, that they may give fruit, but 1, 2, 3, not many. And they are not a healthy tree. Torah compares a human being like a tree. You see a tree alive, strong, lot of fruits, lot of branches, and yet you see the same type of tree that is weak, fruitless, and ready to die. That's between Chaim and Mavet. Tree of life and tree of knowledge is the same. It's exactly the same. It's the way you eat it. You eat food. For what purpose you eat? When you eat, what do you think? When you are chewing it, what do you think? When you're digesting it, what do you think? Now, if you eat, by first doing a netilat yadayim, say bracha, and then eat, and then you say achalta, savata, ubalachta. You eat, and while you're eating, you understand why you are eating, and that is not to fill up your stomach. 99% of people, they eat in order to fill up their stomach. But there are people who eat not for purpose of filling their stomach, but purpose of birur nitzutzim. That means to take that essence out of the food in order to help them to become closer to Hashem. That's why table is mazbeach, the table where you eat. It all depends what you eat. You can eat and watch TV, and you can eat and talk about Torah. And then some people eat and okay, and they get up and they go. No, some people say bracha, they eat, and before they leave the table, they say a bracha. That's eating from Etz Chaim. Because eventually this guy going to become into a situation, he says, God, help me, I am sick. God says, okay, because it's the way you eat. It's the way you use the food that I have provided you. What's the difference between you eating and an animal eating? The one that eats L'Shem Shamayim is eating from Etz Chaim. The one that's eating like an animal, that's Eteda'at Tovara. Etz Chaim has the energy of providing you oneg, more than not only good, but joy of living. A person lives, but there is no joy in their life. There's no purpose in their life. They are empty people, but they are alive. What's the difference of being alive and living? What's the difference? They are not understanding what is their purpose. They don't know what they are doing. They're just living day by day. Whatever it comes, I do whatever it seems. That is not living. Living is that you know a purpose, you have goals, you achieve goals, you bring results, you improve yourself, and you exalt yourself. That is living. Otherwise, they are just waiting to die. They live day by day. Let's see what it comes. They really don't have any purpose other than to feed their stomach and stay alive. There is a promise, a covenant that when a person completes his tikkun, God brings him to the Eretz Zavat, Chalav Vedavash. Is the Eretz, is the land of milk and honey. But if you take the Eretz, the last word is tough. Chalav, the last word is bet. Davash, the last word is shin. Together is Shabbat. Eretz, Chalav, Zavat, Vedavash is Shabbat. Shabbat is when not only one day of your life is Shabbat, 7 days of your life becomes Shabbat. It's a consciousness. Moshe is inclusive of all the neshamot of Israel because Israel is part of the whole. The whole is Moshe. Now, if part of the whole is not corrected, is the whole is finished? No. Every Shabbat is Moshe that comes and gives you a neshama yetira, extra neshama, depending on what you studied and how you have done. God gives you, through Moshe, a neshama that can help you to exalt yourself the following week. You made the sin in Shabbat, you made chilul Shabbat. You don't have Shabbat anyway, because you destroy the consciousness of Shabbat. The mistake is fine. Everybody, even a tzaddik makes a mistake. That is well understood, that we make mistakes. But the point is, it's stupid to repeat a mistake. So you have to recognize that you made the mistake and rectify and make your best and ask the help of Hashem not to repeat the mistake again. But if at that time you make a teshuvah, you can connect if your teshuvah is real, in depths of your heart. That means you are not going to repeat it again. Because after recognizing the weakness in you, that is fine if you cry. You recognize your spiritual lacks. That's why you cry. That's fine. But on Shabbat, everything is good. Because Shabbat is a good day. One day of the week, live alone in looking at what is missing in your life. 6 days, think about what it is missing in your life. But on Shabbat, thanks God you got Shabbat. And when you get to that state of Shabbat, that's Eretz Zavat Chalav Vedavash. When you come to that kind of a consciousness, you don't want to bring negative feelings into that. You want to bring positive feeling into that consciousness. Because consciousness of Shabbat is different than consciousness of the 6 days of the week. It says, listen, if you keep Shabbat, you feel menucha. You feel onik shel Shabbat. This is what the Torah says. Onik means a pleasure, joy. It's a spiritual joy. If you keep Shabbat, it says, I feel onig, okay, I don't feel any different. It's a naseh. Naseh, that means first you have to do it. You cannot take it, understand it mentally. Nothing happens in mind. Mind is only potential. You have to bring it to your body, to your heart, to do it before you can understand it. That's the Na'aseh v'Nishma. God gave the Aseret Dibrot to the Bnei Israel at Mount Sinai. Did they understand the whole 10 utterances? No. They said, okay, we're going to do whatever you tell us to do, but eventually we learn what you mean by doing those things. Doing the action is necessary before understanding. If you want to understand the Kabbalah Etzer Chaim, you have to go and really first become kosher. Second, you have to put tefillin, and to put tzitzit, and to put talit, and reading your tefillah. You're doing it, and you keep on doing it, and the bezuchut of you listen to Hashem, doing His mitzvah, granting that Hashem is the truth, and whatever he says is the truth, and the Torah is emet, and Moshe is emet, and you believe in teaching of Moshe, you're doing it without understanding it, but you're doing it. But because of the zuchut of you doing it, Hashem brings you to a situation that you have teachers and people that you can learn everything in detail. That is naseh v'nishma. Nishma is to learn. So every mitzvah that you do, you ask Hashem to help you to understand why you are doing it. Why you put tzitzit and why you put talit, why you put tefillin and why it is one tefillin is head and one is hand. What is the meaning? You're doing it, but you're asking that you want to understand it. And when you're asking it, then the teacher comes and start teaching you. Talit is what you put on yourself when you're praying. What you're wearing under your garment that touches your skin is called tzitzit. Now, tzitzit helps you not to go the wrong way. Because you know that you are wearing a tzitzit, you better pay attention what you do, what you think, and what you say. So therefore, you have to be aware of how you think, what you think, not allow your thought to go into the direction that you know is going to lead you to a sin. When you want to say something, you have to remember you are wearing a tzitzit, so you cannot say Lashon Hara. When you want to do something, you have to be aware you are wearing a tzitzit, and you are not allowed to do everything that your heart desires. You have to see if what you want to do, is it sincerely godly way to do, brings you close to God? Otherwise, you don't do it. That's why you wear tzitzit. When a father or mother want to create, God becomes the third partner. That's why it says kavod avicha ve'imecha, because your father and mother are partner with God. Not every sperm connects and become kids until Hashem wants that sperm to become a kid. Have you seen how they plant weed? They take a whole bunch of seeds and they throw it. Why they don't do it one by one? Because they throw a bunch of seeds. Out of those seeds, maybe 2 or 3 of them grow. The rest doesn't grow. Whenever the sperm goes into the womb of the mother, how many sperms goes into the womb? Million sperms. Why God has to send million sperms in order to make one kid? Because when one gets into the egg, the rest are there to help in order this fetus to grow. But there is only 1 out of a million. That's why you are special. God chose you to get in. Now, what is Ish? First, Ish is the person, stands for Atzilut, Yetzirah, and the Shin is Bria. That means the person who understands there are 3 levels of creation called Olam Atzilut, Olam Bria, Olam Yetzirah, which all 3 of them are above Olam Asiyah, where we really connect to the world of action. Now, first, we are created as Ish. Then we are Enosh. Is when you start studying Torah and learning about Hashem. After you're Enosh, you become Gibor. Those are level of growth of Ish. Ish, Anosh, Gibor. When you are Ish, you learn that there are upper worlds that you have to connect. Enosh is where God teaches you Binah, teaches you understanding of what 3 worlds is. After you learn the 3 words, you understand that you have a Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Hara. So you become Gibor. Gibor is the person who Yachol, Miha Gibor, the Midrash says, Miha Gibor, A gibor chovesh et yesro. That means gibor is the one that knows how to control his yetzer. Your yetzer is your nature. When you learn how to control your nature, you become gibor. After you became gibor, you can become Israel. After you become Israel, then you can act and learn and study and live the way of Torah. That's what Israel is. And then you become Yesharun. Yesharun, that means when you become Yashar, connected to Hashem. Israel is the beginning of becoming perfect. So to speak, whatever perfect means. Yashar El, his work, his way of thinking, the way of talking, and the way of living is the way Torah says. Now, this by itself has a period to grow up. You cannot start going the way of Torah and be suddenly complete. No, it takes you a while that Israel to become Yesharun. Yesharun is when you have completed your task. That means you have went through a phase, 4 phases of Ish, Enosh, Gibor, Israel. When you completed these 4 phases, then you get to the final situation of Israel to become Yesharun.
The Midrash says that when a person shows his commitment to performing the mitzvot, Hashem Shamayim, that Hashem will enlighten him with the insight in the restricted areas of Torah knowledge.
That's Enosh. Every day in your tefillah, you read Adonai Melamed Bina le'Enosh. That means gives understanding and learning of the Torah to the person who have accepted from Ish to become Enosh. Oh my God, you don't have no idea. You need another 4 lifetimes in order to finish the program that I know I have to finish. You don't know how much there is to learn. You don't have no idea. The beauty is that it's never going to end. Never. That's the beauty. Otherwise, it becomes boring. Otherwise, why I have so many books? Because, I mean, there are books that I've studied for 15 years. There are books that I'm studying for past 40 years. And they haven't finished yet. But there are books that I finished in 2 years. I mean, if I want to study it again, it becomes boring because I know what is the next page. If you look the books that I study, there are so many colors into it and notes that it shows how many times I have gone through it. I know it already by heart. It becomes boring to study again. So I keep it as a reference. I go to new study. I continue. But there are some books, like Etzer Chaim, not even close. I'm not even close in finishing. Not even close to nothing. I'm a baby. I'm a baby. It takes a lot of time, many lifetimes.
You meant that literally you're coming back to...
Yeah, literally. I'm setting myself. I don't want to come back again start from the bottom of the pit. I start from what I left.
That means you're born into a situation that you have easy way to get back to where you are right now?
Exactly. If you know why you are here now, it scares the hell out of you. So, but when you are prepared and you are ready to face your challenges, then you will know from where you came and where you're going. I cannot evaluate myself, can I? If you are looking which level you are, then that's ego. That's ego. What's the difference? I'm doing my best, no matter what it is, I'm doing my best, and there is no end in getting close to Hashem. There's no end to it. It's Ein Sof. The more I know the Hashem, but still there is more I don't know than I know. One of the reasons that you became conscious of studying this, getting involved. Not any young person like you is got involved into study Torah and life with Torah.
Okay.
That reason that previously, for sake of me and you to understand what good is, God has to show me what the opposite of good is. So he created Olam Ze Leumat Ze. That means he created light, but he created darkness. That's why we say Yotzer Or Boreh Choshech. That means a darkness, which represents Ra, represents bad, God created for me to recognize what is light and what is good. If I don't know darkness, do I understand what light is? So God helped put me in the world that there is a darkness and there is the light. Now you have a choice, either to reveal light or darkness. The choice, that's why we are in the world of free will. We have choice, whether I want to join the world of darkness or the world of light. Whether I want to eat from Etz Chaim, that means the way of Torah, or no, and go and experience on my way and do it the way I want. It's not that God is dark. No, God created. What's the difference between God and you? The difference between you and Hashem is that God can create from nothingness something. But you need something in order to create something else. God created darkness out of nothing. You can go into the world of darkness, but you cannot create something with nothing. The light is not created. The light illuminates from the Hashem. That's why we say Yotzer Or Boreh Choshech. Yotzer, that means illuminates light from Hashem, but he created Choshech out of nothingness, darkness out of nothingness. We don't have a malach to control Am Yisrael. Kadosh Baruch Hu directly controls the nation of Israel. But the 70 nations are in the hand of Malachim. They are righteous when they do the 7 mitzvot, exactly the way Torah tells them to do. That's called mitzvot of Bnei Noach. Those 70 nations came from the children of Noah. Hashem is the God of all the nations, but the control of their growth and their completion to the end of their tikkun is in the hand of Malachim. In reality, one Malach really controls through other Malachim the 70 nations. There are 70 Malachim that are controlled under one Malach that looks into their affair and causes them to grow. Now, you go to a doctor, for example, for good reason. Let's say you want to go and check your glasses. And the doctor, when you go in, says, please sit down, we will call you. And you look around and you see there are 3 people ahead of you. So most probably you have to sit down half an hour. What are you going to do in this half an hour? I have a book of Zohar that I've been studying for past 20 years. And this book is in my car. I have a copy in my car and a copy at home. Every time I go to a doctor, or every time I go to a meeting that I have to wait, or every time I go somewhere for some reason, I got to sit down till they call me. I take the book from my car, I carry it in the place. Just waiting, I read my study. You know how much I have gained? You know how much time we waste by waiting till our turn comes out? Half of our life is wasted by, that's why Pirkei Avot is important. It brings your attention. Hey, maximize your time. Maximize usage, get out of your time. Because when you're standing in line waiting, are you using your time correctly or you're wasting your time? When I go and waiting for a doctor or waiting for somebody to call me or waiting, how much of your time you are waiting? Now imagine that all the time either you have in your telephone or you have a book of Zohar or book of something just close by while everybody is sitting and just waiting, putting on, just thinking, or listening to music, or lately they are going through browser and they go internet. That's waste of time. I can study that time. I can use that time to study something useful. That's what I do. I always have a book that I need to study close by. If I am in the car, so every time I get out of the car, go to an office, go to a bank. You know how long you stand in the bank in order to get to the window, in order to take $5 out, for example? Even in the line, I am standing, I open the book. Can I learn 4 lines, a page? I've done big time. That's how you maximize usage of your time. That's what Pirkei Avot says.